G'day, Harry Houdini here, and this is part 4 of building the Zvezda BT-7. Now, as mentioned in the last video, tracks time. Now, these are different to what I've normally done. I've made the Dragon's magic tracks, which are magic. They're terrific. You know, there's minimal cleanup. They fit together easily. You can glue and wrap them round. They set nicely. You're away. I mean, I can do a magic track side in about half an hour on each side of the tank, and of the ones I've had, never had a trouble, never had any problems. Love them a lot. Now, this kit has length and length. And as you see from the instructions, there's not much going on. There's just those parts there, which I've numbered. I did that so I could figure out what was going on. And it seems simple enough. You basically cut them off the sprue and they come off nice and cleanly. Very minimal cleanup. There's not that many. It's quite obvious where they go. I numbered them so I get them in the right order, and I put a joint here. So I numbered them 1 through to 8 segments that suited my needs. And then between 1 and 8, I was going to make that my joint because I thought that was a good place to hide it, to be underneath the fenders. So, you know. Now that doesn't seem too hard, and as I said, the links look good. They're nice and clean. They cut on the side, which you can make a nice clean cut with your knife, and that sands very quickly. No problem there. Okay, and I fiddled around a bit because it was I wasn't quite sure how to assemble them, but the best idea I found was the usual: lay down some tape, some Tamiya tape, fold it over so the sticky side's up, and get your track links down in order and press them together so they're basically dry fitted until you know you've got them all together and they're ready to go. Now, you don't have to glue every link together, of course, because it's link and length. So because there's great big long sections, what I did was I marked in pencil the ends that would require gluing, and only the ends that require gluing. So that made it easier once the links were down on my tape. Then I could just find those penciled sections, and I knew that's where I needed to put the glue, because you dry fit it all together just as you would for normal links, and make sure it all fits and it's all lined up and straight. Then with my pencil marks, I made it really easy to basically get the glue and go in and just basically put a tiny dab of glue in there and let it semi-set, give it a couple of minutes, and then I could wrap the links around, and you could see that they fit. Well, no, they don't. If you can see here, if I don't wobble around too much, even though I've put the correct links together in the correct order, and that's exactly half the sprue of link and length, there's an overlap. For this to wrap around the wheels correctly at both ends, which that works, that's fine, and get the correct sag, and that's all good. And in theory, it's all working really well, except for this joint here, which surprisingly, well, it's between my link 1 and 8, because section 1 and 8, but that's basically where my join was going to be. And as you can see, there's too many links. In something like this Panzer IV tank, the links on each side are all identical, which is really handy, because then you can adjust. You know, if you need a little more sag or you need to tighten it up, you can remove or you can place links in. So that's fine, and that works well. But unfortunately, on a Russian tank, you have this issue, especially with the older tracks, where there's a guide horn on one link, and then there's a link that doesn't have a guide horn, and then there's a guide horn, and so on and so on and so on. So they must always be in pairs. So if you're going to take links out or put links in, you'll have to do them in pairs, because unfortunately, you know, 2 guide horns don't usually sit together. They're always spaced by a link that doesn't have a guide horn. So unfortunately what's going to happen here is I've got two guide horns that are basically going to sit together there. But what I can do is I'll cut off this link here with the guide horn, and because it's sort of masked by the wheels and hidden by the fenders, I might just get away with this. It's very annoying and it shouldn't have happened, but I might get this to work. I'll just have to do a bit of skullduggery. So if I cut off the extra guide horn on this piece, I'll be able to glue them together and I'll make my join about there, which will work. But that's certainly a disappointment, because everything was going together well. The links cut clean fairly easily. As long as I followed the instructions, assembly wasn't too bad once I realised it was best to go back to my usual method of using the tape and just assemble them. That was all pretty straightforward, and really I thought it was coming together well. They fitted around the wheels at either end nicely. That wasn't a problem. But unfortunately the Russians have struck again, and I'm falling out of love very much with Zvezda tracks. So I mean, I could go the route of buying some aftermarket tracks, which cost more than the kit and all the photo etch that I bought here put together, which will basically double what I've spent on this. I could do that, but this solution will work. It's not pretty. It will work, and to the untrained eye, if they don't look too closely, they'll never realise that I've actually lost a guide horn, because it'll all be hidden behind the wheels and the eye will just see the odd guide horn here, the odd guide horn there. At least I won't see two guide horns together. That would be a dead giveaway. Or two spaces together. That would look dreadful. So I'm going to hide the join behind the wheel. That should solve the problem. So here's a sequence speeded up of how I put it together. I'm cutting out the lengths here, obviously, and I'm assembling them in the order as per the plan, but not on the tape to start with, just to make sure I've got them all right and they're all around the right way, because if you've got them back to front, the prongs won't actually fit, and there's a bit of a sequence with this that I found the first time. You have to be very careful. But anyhow, once I've got them all around the right way, and I had to reverse a few there to make sure they were correct, then I can put them on the tape and push them hard together, just as you would do building any set of links for a tank, and get them nice and straight on the tape, ready to go. So, as you saw in the last sequence, all the track links are assembled in the correct order and glued together. Now, they should just lift up and wrap around, but we'll probably have that overlap problem again. I can't see why it'll be any different this side. Now, one thing I do when it comes to taking them off the sticky, because then you can end up with an almighty mess, is use pencil and your tweezers and just gently work your way along. And the reason I have with the pencil is you can certainly separate them with the tweezers, but then they kind of fall down and stick back down the other end, which is really annoying. So this isn't too bad that there's not that many glue points, because it's link and length, so there's not a lot of joins, but still, same principle applies. Very carefully, so you don't want to break the joints, because they're only just glued together, and that's what you want. You want that flexibility. They're only just glued together. Well, I've got my little silver marks on there, which I don't know if you can see, and that's going to tell me where the joins are. So I know those three there that go together, they've got to wrap around that wheel. So I can give them a bit of a bend now, and that should give me an idea where to start. So there's those three, they've got to go around there. So on they go, they're fine, that'll join to there, those will join to there, this should then wrap around the back here. And so that's just looking fine, you know, that's all good. And you think, oh, it's going to be great. But guess what? Same problem again. There are just too many goddamn links of Zvezda. Bunch of Russian whatever. I don't want to start an international incident, but I'm not happy. So there we go. That's how they went together. And I mean, a lot of it's good. They trim okay. They generally fit and they run round, and that's all good. And you know, it's going to look reasonable. But this overlap, it's unforgivable. It really is. It's totally unforgivable. That's Obviously no one at Zvezda actually tried to put those links on this model. Whether they've mixed it up and I've got the links from a different model, I don't know, but it's not working, is it? So I'll let those set now. I'll probably put a few little bits of Tamiya tape on to hold them in the position that I want, and I'll let that overlap's going to go that way, and I'll let them sort of sit in place, and then we'll see what we've got here. We're back, and the offending links have been taken out, one on each side, and we have success. It fits all the way around, joins up to the sprockets, and that's not too bad. You know, it needs a little bit of sort of touching into place and gluing, and that'll happen after I've done all the weathering and painted all the wheels up. Then I'll seal that all up, glue it in and lock it down, and it'll be okay. And you might be hard pressed to actually see where I've put the join. I think it's sort of hidden away nicely. There it is. You can see the little mark there where Mr. Surfacer went in to help fill the joint so that it'll look like the rest of the links. So there you go. Reasonable amount of success. At least, you know, I got a solution. So she's got tracks on now, and the bottom half is pretty well done. There's not much more to do for the lower hull. It's all upper body stuffs now. So would I build another Zvezda kit with link and length? Not bloody likely if they're like that. It's just horrendous. It's just, you know, it's just not good enough. Russian old tanks have paired links, and therefore you've got quite a long section that either you have to put another one of those two links in or another pair of those two links come out. So adjusting tension is just too hard. I may be able to offset the back wheel a little bit and tighten that up, and you know, you can do a little bit of adjusting there to get it to tighten up a bit, but that's as good as she's going to get. And that'll do. So I'm basically signing off on Sprue C, which I hated. And the track links, look, the links were okay. They cut off nicely. They came together nicely. There was just one too many, which is just Zvezda. Very poor planning. But anyhow, we're over it. We're through it. I'll paint and weather those up, and they'll look fine. So this is Harry Houdini Australia, basically giving up on the bottom half of the Zvezda BT-7. Oh look, it'll be fine. The top half will be great. So that'll do. Hooroo!